So a while back, this TikTok went viral where Christopher Nolan is explaining the different formats in which Oppenheimer is available. And there are plenty of different formats the movie's coming out in. There's IMAX 70mm, there is 70mm, 35mm, 2K DCPs, 4K DCPs, then there's Dolby Cinema. And the question arises, like with any other Nolan's film, what's the best way to watch this movie? But before we get into that, it's important to understand and learn the technical mastery behind this film. The tools, the tech, the methods which were used to make this film, which would lead into how to watch this film in the best way. So Nolan is kind of a stickler because he likes to shoot all of his films on film. And film does not have a resolution. So the quality of film is dependent on the physical size of the film strip. So the different types of film formats include 35mm, then there is 65mm 5-perf, and then there is 15-perf 70mm IMAX, which in Nolan's words,
it's the highest quality imaging format ever devised.
Now Nolan basically pioneered the concept of using IMAX 70mm cameras to shoot feature films because these were designed only for like documentaries and like other like 20 or 30 minute types of films, not Hollywood feature length films. So he kind of pioneered it, and after The Dark Knight, all 5 films, including Oppenheimer, were shot to a certain degree using IMAX cameras. And since IMAX makes both the format and the screens, some IMAX screens are in the 1.43:1 aspect ratio, which is way taller than your traditional CinemaScope or 35mm aspect ratio. So you're getting about 40% more image than CinemaScope. So you might have seen Interstellar or The Dark Knight Rises, where it switches between full screen and letterbox black bars. So the full screen parts are IMAX and the black bars are regular 65mm or 35mm. And Oppenheimer is also going to alternate between those two aspect ratios. So 1.43 and 2.2:1. So 2.2 is the shortest aspect ratio available for the movie. Another interesting thing about the movie is that some sequences are shot on black and white. And this is not just regular black and white, this is black and white IMAX 70mm. And before the making of this movie, there was like 70mm black and white film just did not exist. So specifically at Nolan's request, Kodak just came up and invented black and white 15-perf 70mm IMAX film stock. So yeah, Oppenheimer is actually going to switch between black and white and color like Memento, and it's also going to switch aspect ratios like Dunkirk or Interstellar. So all in all, this is like a quintessential Nolan film. Now the best way to experience this movie would of course be in a 70mm IMAX Grand Theater or a GT. But the unfortunate bit is that there are only 31 such theaters around the world. There are like 1,000+ IMAX locations, but only 31 are able to project this movie to its full capability, to its full quality. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate because the whole world has moved towards digital. And you might be asking that, does India have one of these 70mm IMAX locations? Short answer, no, of course, but there used to be 5 of such locations in India. But that's a story for another time. Now, what to do if you don't have an IMAX 70mm theater in your city or even in your country? Now, the next best version to watch Oppenheimer would be in 70mm or 35mm engagements, so non-IMAX 70mm or 35mm. And there are like 200 such prints around the world, including both the formats. It is obvious from what I've seen that a bunch of theaters in the US and also in Europe, I guess, would be screening in regular 70mm or 35mm. Now there is also a better way to watch this movie in IMAX. Well, here's the thing. There were a lot of GT IMAX theaters, more than 31. There used to be about 100. But a lot of them either shut down or they converted to a digital setup, more specifically a dual laser setup. So they still have the old 70mm 1.43 screen, but they just have dual laser projectors, which are 4K. And in those locations, you'll still be able to see the image in full height in 1.43, and it's I think the next best version to watch in theaters. And yeah, there are about, like, if you include the 70mm and these dual laser theaters, there are about 50 or 60 theaters around the world where you can watch this. So I found this list and a map of such theaters on Reddit. Shout out to the Redditor who posted this and made this from all his effort. And yeah, you can find a dual laser location throughout this map if you look around close enough. So apart from this, what if you don't even have one of these theaters in your city or in your country? Well, the next best option would be to watch this in digital IMAX, which are like kind of a multiplex style IMAX. So these are slightly smaller than the IMAXs which I mentioned before, but they have a bigger aspect ratio than your traditional theaters, so you will still be able to see more image. Not as big as 1.43, but a shorter image at 1.9. So it's going to switch between 2.2 and 1.9, which is still a fair deal. I mean, still, it's like the best option you can have. Now, specifically for India, there are 23 or 24 IMAX locations in the entire country, and all of them are inside multiplexes, so no dual laser, nothing. But yeah, they're still pretty good. I have been to about 10 of these theaters, and I definitely genuinely enjoy the experience of watching a movie inside these theaters. And some of them are laser projections and some of them are dual 2K xenon projections. And there is general notion that the 2K xenon theaters are like really bad and the 4 laser theaters are like really good in Delhi and Mumbai, and people would often fly out. I would say that's not the case. They're both really good. I actually don't mind watching a movie in 2K dual xenon. And in fact, both the versions are going to look good because the digital version of this movie, the IMAX digital version of this movie, is going to be a higher bitrate than standard, because Nolan has made the digital version of this movie out of the 8K scans and downsampled them into 2K and 4K. So you're going to get extra detail no matter which theater you go to. So I would just say, just go to the one which is closer to your house. But if you want to be a purist, if you want to fly out, I would say just choose the bigger auditorium. Now, there are 2 such theaters which like the biggest IMAXs right now in the country. There is PVR Logics in Noida, and there is SPI Palazzo in Chennai. I've visited them both and I absolutely love them. There are like, the screen is huge, and if you pick the right seat, if you sit closer to the theater, you're gonna get an amazing experience and it's gonna feel like you're sitting in the GT theater. So yeah, I have created like an Excel sheet of all IMAX theaters in India. So yeah, you can check it out. You can make a copy of it and fiddle around with it. So yeah, there's that. And if you scroll down to the sheet, you will see 4 IMAX theaters which are marked as closed. These were the OG 70mm IMAX theaters which were in India, and all of them are either converted now or closed, so that's pretty unfortunate. But if you're still more interested about the story of these theaters and how they closed up, let me know, because I'm planning to make a video about that. So if you'd be interested to watch that, let me know down below in the comments. So yeah, that's basically it. Oh yeah, what to do if you don't even have an IMAX theater in your city or in your country? Now, your best bet to watch this would be in the biggest standard theater you have in your city or country, and hope that it's 4K, and that's gonna give you the next best possible experience, because standard version, the 4K DCP is still gonna look pretty good. So yeah, make sure that theater has 4K capabilities, and yeah, that's gonna be pretty good as well. You might see black bars, but that's just one compromise you must be willing to make. You're still getting to see the rest of the movie, so that's pretty good. Dolby Atmos or not doesn't really matter, because Nolan doesn't do Dolby Atmos mixes in his movies, just 5.1. So yeah, I think that covers it all. Thank you so much for watching this long ass video, and yeah, let me know where you'll be watching Oppenheimer in the comment section down below. So yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and let me know in the comments if you'd be interested to watch that video on the OG old IMAXs of India, because I'll have some fun making that one. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.